Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I've got Side Hustle Bud, channel Bud Light. We're going to talk about a new pandemic assistance revenue program that might help you if you have a farm. We're going to get into that. He's been studying up on it. He's already sent his paperwork in. We've got some side hustles to talk about so you can make money in the Thunderdome. Before we get there, hopefully take advantage of some of these deals that are coming. And there's a lot to cover. How you doing, Bud?
Doing well, Chris. Thank you.
Well, tell me about your what you've had to do for your pandemic assistance revenue program sign up.
All right. We can get into that here. So, with the FSA, which is the Farm Service Agency with the USDA, if you have a farm or ranch, if your viewers have this, they would probably have in your tax returns, it's called a Schedule F. That's for farm and ranch. Well, they have a new program that actually came out in January. I just found out about it this past week because they never really let these things out. You kind of dig for them. And what it is that in a nutshell, you take your gross revenue of 2020, which is line item 9 on your Schedule F on your tax forms, everybody. And so you take 2020, and they are saying that they will give relief if you lost more than 15%, 15% equal or greater than of loss from either year 2018 or 2019. So on the forms, you put down your gross revenue, remember Schedule F, line item 9, off of 2018 or 2019. You take the greater of those two, you get to choose those two. And if your 2020 is 15% or greater, I'm sorry, 15% loss or greater of a loss from those 2 years, either or of those 2 years, not both of them combined, but either or, then they will pay you back 90% of the difference and or 80%. It depends if you're a beginning farmer, a veteran, or if you have a minority status. If you fall into those three, you get 90% back. If you just call anybody else, you get 80% back. So basically, if it's you have $10,000 that you did in 2020, but in 2018 or 2019 you did $20,000, then they take that difference, which is $10,000. They'll pay you back 80%, $8,000, and or $9,000. So it's a pretty good deal for if you're a farmer and rancher right now. And this is called the Pandemic Assistance Revenue Program. Now, as with all government programs, there's a catch. There's always a catch. So they are funding what's called the ERP, emergency ERP something program, and they will fund that
Emergency relief, emergency
That's it.
relief program.
Yes, emergency relief program. They will fund that first, and then if they have any dollars left over from that, then it comes into the pandemic assistance revenue program. Bad part is that the emergency ERP program that came out, that's where all your big corporate, big time farmers and everything suck up all that money, and then us small guys, we know what we get the leftovers.
You get the
But
crumbs.
yeah, we get the crumbs. But if it's they've done that in the past, and you usually can get. I've always still been able to get mine, and people I know have been able to get mine. So it's a pretty good deal, and it only takes like 5 minutes. You have if you're already signed up with your FSA, Farm Service Agency, which most farmers and ranchers are. It's just 3 pages, takes 5 minutes to fill them out. You turn it in to your local FSA office, and you can go online. Chris, I think you said you were posting the link in the description about it, and that gives you the whole instructions and everything, and all the forms. Take them, print them out. You just got to fill out a few things on each form. 3 forms is all it is, and you take it to your FSA, put it in. It ends June the 2nd is when it ends, and so by the end of June, you'll know that if you'll be receiving money on that or not. So is it a government program? Yes, but they threw all kinds of free money out all the time. So you might as well just grab what you can from them, this fiat currency, and then go and turn around and buy your silver and gold or put it into hard assets.
How long has this been out?
Since January the 3rd.
They didn't advertise it very well, did they?
They didn't advertise it at all.
Yeah, so guys, check it out. There's all kind of stuff in here. We got spot market hog pandemic program. There's coronavirus food assistance program, pandemic livestock stock indemnity program, spot market hog program. There might be something in here for you guys. Check it out.
Right.
Like Bud said, it only took 5 minutes to do.
Yep.
Then what do you have to lose?
Yeah, I mean, even if you get $1,000, that's worth doing the paperwork. To me, it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's really good, man. I hope if anybody does that, let me know in the comments if you did it. PARP, PARP.
Yep. And then if for your farmers and ranchers, you have EQIP programs and WIP programs. That affects none of this pandemic stuff. So, like, I'm already on a couple EQIP and WIP programs on our farm and ranch through the USDA and NRCS. And so they're two completely opposite deals. So you don't have to worry saying, hey, I'm getting EQIP money or WIP money. Doesn't matter. This is another separate entity by itself.
Yeah, I agree. If you guys want this, it'll be in the description. I'll pin it in the comments, and I'll also put Bud's channel. Bud Light is his channel name, and no, he's not peddling woke beer.
I've had so many texts of people like, "It's time to change your channel name." And I said, "Well, maybe I just need to get a rainbow hat to wear instead."
Well, but you can do both. Do both.
Yeah, I guess so. But it's Bud Light, LITE is how it's spelled. But actually,
I really like Side Hustle Bud.
Well, it's already got a following out there of Bud Light, and the Ninja's the one that told me to use that name, and so I went with that. And when we were in Vancouver together, and so I have a little over 50 videos out there right now, and my whole premise. I know we have a lot of YouTubers out there that are talking about, I mean, of the news, and it just seems that it's always depressing of what's coming down. And I mean, it's depressing, but it's also fact that we're going to be going into a economic financial hard times. So my whole channel is basically showing side hustles, and I demonstrate each and every single side hustle to individuals and show how you can make some money. Most of these are side hustles that I've done, and then also friends and acquaintances have done. There's a side hustle in there that'll be coming out this week, where I was making $500 to $700 cash a day on a side hustle. So it's a pretty good deal. So I want to kind of just go over a few things that I'm seeing from my side, Chris, on some side hustle deals. We talked about the farm program. Man, that video you did with TD at Texas Boys, or the food 401k that you guys are talking about, is doing really good. But one of the things, if you have to look in your area, in your neighborhood, but around here, we have a lot of ranchers and farmers. And all of them that I know is that even city folks, they would come out and talk to your farmer and rancher. You could they will hold and feed out a half a beef or a calf for you, take it to the butcher, and they just put your name on it, and you pay for it. So it's a lot more economical to do it that way, because they just charge by whatever the market price is on the hoof going into the butchers. So if you're, you got 1,000-pound calf, $1.61 per pound, that's what it'll be. And then you just pay the butcher's processing fee and kill fee. And you get a whole half of beef, 400 to 500, 400 some pounds of meat uh, for that price. It's a lot cheaper than going to the grocery store and picking them all out and everything. Probably the only expense you'll have is you got to buy a big freezer to stick all that in.
If yeah, just a half is a big freezer. We got a calf and a half last year, and I had to buy another freezer. And that's a lot of meat. I was giving it away, and it's
Yep.
really nice to be able to bless people with some good meat that it's
Right.
been grown by your friends and family and processed locally, and it tastes better. There's just no downside to it besides buying the extra freezer. But I had been talking about that for a while. You could have
I
sold
know.
it on stock or anything, any kind of asset that's not hard. Something that you could live without and buy some food. It's
Who
only
is it?
going.
Robert Kiyosaki was talking about that he owns thousands of heads of cattle that he put his money into that besides his gold and silver. So hard assets. But his Wagyu beef, remember that's what he's raising is that Wagyu beef, the most expensive beef there is. But hey, so that brings up a point. I was actually at the butcher's today. The processing center is just 3 miles down from the ranch here. And when I went in there, I just stopped in to get some liver because he gives it to me for free. And he had these two big barrels full of scraps. And I said, "Is that just dog food?" He goes, "Yeah, take as much as you want. That's just stuff that we throw away." And
Wow.
two 50-gallon barrels full from butchering all these cattle. So I was thinking, a person could make a side hustle out of this in the sense that if you had your deer hunters or your hunters, probably most hunters have a grinder to grind up their own meat and everything. I know you do, and don't you?
Oh yeah,
Uh,
that's what I was actually going to do. The side hustle you're talking about. I'll tell you about it after you get done.
oh, okay. Well, then I was actually thinking, hey, this is free. You're actually doing him a favor getting rid of it. And what if you come and grind all that scrap up and make you a dog food side hustle? You could sell at the farmer's market, making you dog food packs of just pure meat at a farmer's market. I was like, man, that's a good side hustle.
Well, here's what you can do, and this is what I did for my dogs. And I'm going to actually do a video of it. I'm going to lay out the macros, what your dog needs on a macro level, carbs, protein, and fats.
Right.
And I'm going to grind up liver and, like you said, the cuts of meat that are good for dogs and good for humans, actually, but go uneaten. And you can actually put your carb in with that, whether it be rice or whatever. And fat, you'll usually get that from the meat. You probably don't need to add any of that. And you can extrude it out on your freeze dryer and you freeze dry it. They sell
Ah,
dog food like that
that's a good
already,
idea.
and it is expensive. It's really
Really?
expensive, but it's
Huh.
really good for the dogs. It saved our little dog's life cooking its food. Gigi,
Yeah.
Stacey's little dog,
Yeah.
it was going to the vet all the time, and I started cooking its food and figured out exactly what it needed to eat on a macronutrient level. She doesn't go to the vet anymore. She's fixed. It's
Yeah.
wild. So somebody could get a
What?
freeze dryer and sell freeze dried dog food, and that would be. I would think that would be a pretty good side hustle. I think it goes for
That-
like 30 to $40 a bag.
Yeah. Well, I guess mine would be more of if you have some teenagers at home, and that they could do this. They're not going to get quite as much as that, but just the meat itself, still fresh. And you go to your farmer's market and sell 1 pound packages of fresh ground up dog food. Who knows what you can make on it, but it'd be a good deal for your kids or even somebody that needs to do it. So,
Yeah, I agree. It'd be a good idea to start putting anything like that away, freeze dry
right.
and stick it up. You never know. You got to take care of your puppies too.
Yep. You
What
do.
was your other
So,
side hustle idea, bud?
Oh, I got several here. But one of the things that I think I told you before, those of you who live in rural areas, is that back in the 1920s and 18s, whenever they started running electrical to a lot of old houses. So if you see old abandoned houses, and this what happened to out on my family's farm out in western Oklahoma, as a guy came by, we had an old homestead there that uh, was all decrepit, run down, just rats and raccoons lived in it and everything. And you have a lot of people that come by and they want to, hey, can I take some wood off? Because that was a big thing at one time. And this one guy came through and said, hey, you mind if I go through those and get the old insulators that used to be in there? They just tapped into the wood wall and then they wrapped the wire around it and ran it to light. And it may just be one light here or there and that. And I was telling you, you know what those insulators, the metal piece that was in the insulators, remember what I told you it was made out of?
I don't remember.
Platinum.
Well, that's what I was going to say, but
so it was over an ounce of platinum in every single insulator. And this guy went through out in western Oklahoma. This was back in the 90s. And he cleared out all those. And every farmer's like, oh, yeah, just take what you need. Nobody knew it. And pretty smart on that, I guess. And who knows how much he has now. That was 25, 30 years ago. So I don't. If there's any houses out there, if you have them on your property, you might want to go check that out.
Yeah, you never know. Somebody might have a pile of them somewhere.
Exactly. So the other thing I was wanting to make sure hit up is I know Stacey mentioned about my or one of you guys did at one time about my solar um, side hustle deal that I have, and I did a whole video on the solar panel system that we have here. Just so everybody knows, is that you get a rebate back of 30%. This year, they've upped that another 10% to 40% rebate back from the government. It's a tax credit. It's not that you don't get the money back, you get it back as a tax credit, which works great. And for example, for what I said on mine is because I built it myself, you get 3 quotes from a solar panel installer. And for a 12 kW system like I have at my place, I got 3 quotes at 44, 45.6, and a 46.5. And then I did all the work myself because you can go through Wholesale Solar, which is an Israeli company out in California, and they just send you everything, and it's a plug and play. It was $18,000 for all of it. I welded up my own stand and everything, and built it, placed it all together. Me and the ranch hands, and put that all together. I put that whole thing together for 18,500 some bucks. But whenever you go into your CPA and you want to go back for your rebate, you just have to take the quote of that $45,000. That's what I did. I took the quote, turned it in CPA, turned it into the IRS because you're doing the work yourself. You got to count for your own time. And I got a 14,000 some dollar rebate back. So my whole solar panel system for a 12 kW system, which runs the whole farm and ranch, cost me $4,000, and it paid itself off in 13, 14 months.
I've been banking on those rebates. I've been banking on the green when he's pushing the solar. I've been holding off and holding off.
Well, don't hold off too much longer.
Yeah, I figure that stuff's going to get a little cheaper before it goes to the moon, but we'll see. I think everything's about to get cheaper. maybe the stuff we actually need won't, but it's hard to say. I think even precious metals are going to take a little dip.
Yeah,
I think the premiums are about to go up.
Speaking of that, with all the gold and silver runs and everything, you would think the junior miner stocks would be just going through the roof, but they're not. So
not yet.
No,
not yet. But it's
yet.
It's getting.
But you and you have a lot, and TD has talked a lot about. You guys need to just learn a new skill set. Votech has all kinds of training seminars. Learn something that you can do on the side to make some money, whether plumbing, electrician, computer programming, design. Um, you go to your local Votech center and get that. I'm not a big proponent of college. I think it's a waste of money now, even though I'm a college graduate. My kids aren't going because they already have their own businesses and doing stuff going forward. So that's my advice on that side of things on the education.
Well, I agree. There's too many white collar jobs that, you know, well, I say there's too many white collar jobs. There's a
Chat
lot of
GPT will take over all those.
really, that's the truth of it.
It is.
AI is fixing to wipe a lot
Yeah.
of that out, and it's going to
Yeah.
hurt the blue collar jobs as well. But going to school to get a degree in underwater basket weaving or something that you're not going to use. There's so many people that do that. I talk to kids all the time. What are you going to do? I'm going to college for what? I don't know. It's like
Just a party. Have a
I
good time.
knew. It's like, well, I'm going to be a welder. They make the most money the fastest, and that's what I'm going to do.
So
It's real simple.
I have another idea, Chris. This may be it applies to me. I don't know about you. Do you heat your house with propane or natural gas?
Wood.
But do you have propane or natural gas for any other stuff or not?
Man, I've got a propane tank. I can hook up a propane heater if I wanted to. But we choose wood. I like the wet.
Yeah. Well, we use wood. We use wood too, but for all my greenhouses and my barns, I have hooked up on the propane. But if you have cash, some of you people are you talk about, and I've seen in your comments, people are like, "Oh, I got all this extra money. What do I do with it? What do I do with it?" And like, just be patient. Don't go into real estate and everything yet. Wait till it all comes crashing down. But if you're needing to, besides diversifying your money into separate bank accounts, one thing people can look at is that if you have propane, and I don't know if natural gas is this way, but I know it is with propane, is that you can go to your local propane companies and prepay. I prepaid probably 6-7 years in advance, getting it back when it was just $1.18
I
a
didn't know
gallon.
that.
And your propane companies will allow you to prepay, and then it just comes off your credit. You can buy it in at this whatever the price is. Then
You
I
can buy
think it's
futures.
do what
You can buy futures on your own propane. That's cool.
on your propane. And so for my parents, I went in and gave them a $9,000 check, and that will fill their propane tanks for the next 7 to 8 years. And I got it at $1.18. And so that goes to them, and that's a money saving. What is it Ninja always says? Money saves, money earned, or
Dollar
something like that.
Right.
Dollar saved, dollar earned. So that's some idea that you guys can do. The other thing is that you might want to look at if where our grid ever goes down, if you don't have any kind of backup system generator, look at getting hand pumps into your water if you have a well. Now, if you're on city water or rural water along that, I doubt they'll let you drill a well in your backyard in town. But if
You can do it
suburbs are,
yourself. If you live around me or you can do
yeah,
it yourself.
yeah, you can get what's called a sand point, and you can drive it right down into the ground, and you got a water well, a hand pump.
Well, you can take PVC and put it together and knurl the end of it and put 2 water hoses on top of it and strap a 2x4 to it and move it back and forth, and it'll eat its way down. I mean, you can go 30, 40 foot like that easy.
Yeah.
And just sit there on the back of a truck. I saw a guy doing it, and he'd move the board up, set the clamps, and he'd just wiggle it back and forth. It would wash out. Yeah.
Well, I have some friends from our church that uses a compressor doing the same thing, compressor system, and doing it just like that, in the air with the drill bit on it and by hand. And they drilled a 180-foot one in a day and a half, and then just sleeved it and put a hand pump on. So there's ingenious ideas.
I've got diesel welding machines that'll run my pump. I don't plan on my well's 365 foot deep too.
Holy moly!
So, yeah.
Wow, that's like New Mexico wells.
Well, we've got shallow water, but we've got really good water down deep.
I got you. Speaking of the fuel and everything, is the other thing that I always want to reiterate to people is make sure you keep stored fuel at your place, whether it's a 5 gallon can or 50 gallon can or a 5,000 gallon tank. Um, get your fuel, treat it, and keep it for because we may not have it one day with Joe Borgen doing all his cutting down all the oil and gas.
I think we'll always have it, bud. We'll always have fuel. At what price is
Yeah, what
that's
price?
yeah. We'll always have food. Venezuela, the shelves were stocked completely with food. Nobody could afford it. It's at what price? There'll always be gold and silver. At what price? Diesel fuel, keep it out of the ground. If you keep it out of the ground, you can drain the water off of it, and it'll last a long, long time. The gas we have, the gasoline, goes bad in about 3 months. You got to get the non-ethanol if you're going to store it.
Yep, non-ethanol.
And
then you got to add all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I try to just keep it rotated. I keep several cans full, and when they just work off the front, just like I do my food, eat off the front, replace in the back.
Yep.
You always have fuel.
So one of the things you've been talking quite a bit, and some other people been talking about, is the loss of jobs that's going on out there. So one of my companies that I have is I own a national recruiting firm, getting people jobs. By the way, if anybody's a CAD operator, I need some CAD operators. Put it in the comments. But so I have a pretty good pulse of employment because we deal all over the United States. But I deal mostly was in the oil and gas energy industry, and then also in the construction industry. So far as the job loss goes, the multifamily industry I'm shutting down that division because they have shut completely down building multifamily, and I'm talking about California and Florida and Texas. We were running all kinds of candidates and people down in there, and it overnight just poof, went away. Now, where it is picking up is in the military industrial complex bases. If anybody in the construction industry that has even an inkling of an idea of how to do construction, they are having a hard time finding people. And because it has gone up probably 200, 300% in the last 6 months, because for all of a sudden we're got all this money coming into the military, and they're expanding bases, building bases, refurbing bases. And so I'm putting people left and right in it with general contractors that are working with the military and the Corps of Engineers. So if anybody, if you're looking for a job and you have that type of skill set, that's an industry right now that is just booming as far as hiring people and going forward on there. And but as far as on the commercial construction side, private side, I'm starting to see. I don't do a whole lot with the residential type of candidates, but I know several of them here around my area, and they're starting to see a level off on new construction and starting to see a dip. But as far as multi construction, it is just falling off the cliff. They I know about 15 companies that have just closed completely down that were humongous multifamily builders and apartment builders and everything. So that's kind of interesting. So the tech, and of course, obviously, you guys are seeing in the tech industry too. But I don't deal in the tech industry, but it's falling off the cliff too. But I do deal with bankers, and I have a lot of bankers now calling me and trying to find jobs, and I'm placing them in more. They are coming out of these big regional banks or big banks, and these little small mom and pop banks, local banks, are starting to pick them up because they have the experience and knowledge, maybe, and they may have to retrain them. But I'm doing quite a bit in that area right now too. So it's kind of interesting to watch the dynamics of the whole unemployment and employment numbers and everything that's going on.
Yeah, that's why I'm not getting into real estate. That's why I want to, but it is just, in my opinion, uh, there's been times in history where you could trade your precious metals for real estate, and then trade your precious real estate for precious metals. Housing market gets way out of whack with the gold price, and then vice versa. And you could have done really well by doing that. So I'm practicing a little bit of that, but it's on the way. But speaking of job cuts, listen to this. Healthcare job cuts up 65% in the first
Yep,
quarter of 2022. All right.
I know.
But since a year before, from here, year to year, it's up 396%. That's 270,416 job cuts in the healthcare industry.
Yeah, but wasn't the
That's
government saying that that
wow.
was supposed to be the industry that nobody would lose jobs in because of all the boomers retiring and needing health care and everything? That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, we're all, just know we're being lied to about the jobs. They're never off the other way. They're always off. Oh, there wasn't that much. We missed it by this much. They don't ever miss it the other way. Like, wow, we created way more jobs. You never hear that.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
lying to us, guys. Don't think they're on. This thing's gonna get worse way before it gets better.
So speaking of job cuts, several in your audience probably knows Genius Brady, my sidekick, that we did the video with in Vancouver. But Genius Brady got laid off um, from his job this past week. Of course, now he knew it was kind of coming, and he's excited about it because now we can go forward on a website building for the channel and maybe bring some other people in, and we're going to try to do it for the community, being able to get everybody's stuff on there. And Genius Brady's also putting together e-commerce. We're going to do a couple more videos on that, building the e-commerce Amazon store that we're doing. It's we're learning as we go. It's starting to finally take off and do really, really well. So that's one of our side hustles that's turning in. Well, now it's a full-time job for Genius Brady, and so it's going good on that side of things. So look forward. Look, if you come to my place, and maybe Chris will post, if he allows it, we'll post Genius Brady's e-commerce courses and everything whenever it comes out.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That's an excellent side hustle. Anything you can do in on that side. And this is not easy for me. Computers and all the tech stuff is just not my thing. I do it because I have to get the information out. But you know, I'm geared more towards hands-on welding, machining,
Right.
that kind of stuff. I understand it a lot better than all the tech stuff. But we're going to endeavor to persevere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I think I'm going to run this on my welding channel because this is going to really help a lot of people. I think, and I might run it on both. We'll see.
I was going to
But
say, can you run it on both?
yeah, maybe we'll see.
the
But guys, is that about all you got, bud?
Well, I did have one little story that happened to me a little
All
while
right,
ago. I
go
was
ahead.
at Lowe's and I was walking across the parking lot, and I park in that veteran spot, and beside that's the handicap parking, and this person drove by, and I saw they had a Biden sticker on the back, so I was motioning them, go right here, go into the handicap spot and everything. And the lady rolled down the window. She goes, I can't park there. I'm not handicapped. I said, I'm sorry, ma'am. I saw the Biden sticker on the back of your vehicle, so I thought might be where you need to park. I got I got the Hawaiian good luck sign from her, and she drove off. So,
All right,
but
man. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming on, bud. I'll leave your channel in the comments. I'll put it in the description. I'll leave the link to this uh, PARP
yeah,
Pandemic Assistance Revenue Program. I hope you
yeah,
guys take advantage of it. The government's going to give us some crumbs. I hope you
yeah.
pick some up. And if you get one of these side hustles and run with it, I'd like to know. It's really cool because right now's the time, guys. Right now's the time
Yeah.
to make as much money, accumulate, work, be that hand that they can't get rid of because times are fixing to get slow. We're looking at a lot of job cuts. There's a lot of things happening at one time right here at the end. Or no, I'm sorry, right here at the beginning of the Thunderdome.
Right.
And just
Well,
so
you
you know,
hit
that's
the
what I call anything past 2020 is the Thunderdome. We don't know anything goes.
well, you hit the main key. You got to work. I tell that all the time. You guys got to get out there and work. You got to hustle. So,
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I appreciate it, bud.
all right. You have a good one, sir.
All right, brother. Guys, you have an awesome day. We'll see you in the next one. Later.